How is it going today? Lord, let's get to my name's Dwayne.
My name's Jazz.
We're doing Jazz. As you can see, you know, we got the merch on, the new season. I call it 2.5.
Man, y'all were asking for gold.
It's a little
So
different.
we got gold.
Yeah, it's a 2.5.
Two different
designs
that we have. And they are dropping tomorrow.
So let us know what you guys think of them. We'll have some pictures on Instagram. And follow us on our social media in the link in the description below. And don't forget to
oh, my pillow. I don't have it.
Subscribe. Also, we're reacting to the film theory. Your memories are a lie. Men in Black Neuralyzer IRL. Let's dive on in.
I'll be the first to admit, not every prediction I make ends up being correct. And maybe not every
they're
theory is your
theories.
favorite. Or maybe you're just sick of my
They're not meant to be.
references. Well, today I'm gonna do something about it. I want you to think of everything I've ever done that you didn't like. Bad Star Wars prediction, a grown-worthy dad joke, whatever comes to mind. Now focus on it. Got it?
What is it that song
Now,
about
just
Peach?
do me a
It's like
favor and
corn.
write it here. Protecting the world from the scum of poorly cited
Wario.
research. So after suffering my way through Bright on
Alexa's
Netflix,
game.
widely hailed to be the worst movie of 2017, which
Please.
it's not by a long
People
shot.
didn't want us to
Provide me
see
some
it.
great out-of-context lines, such as,
Fairy lives don't matter today.
and
You know what they say, once with the Dark Lord, always with the Dark Lord.
I decided to take a trip down memory lane to revisit Will Smith's, well, maybe not his better early movies, but I at least like
I like Independence
I like it. And
Day.
Bad Boys.
On the
Those
nostalgia
were
train
good
was
movies.
Men in Black. Back from
I didn't
the time
see
when
Bad
Will Smith
Boys,
couldn't decide if he was an
but-
actor or a rapper. Sometimes he was both. If you call Wild Wild West rapping or acting.
What'd I do?
Anyway, Men in Black gave us the Neuralyzer,
Hey, he's
a device
successful.
that,
He's
with
successful.
one flash, makes you forget practically anything, except the fact that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That one is locked in.
Everybody knows
I'll let
that.
Tommy Lee Jones explain how the Neuralyzer works.
This is called a neuralyzer. This red eye here will isolate the electronic impulses in your brains, and more specifically the ones for memory.
Everyone looking at the light gets zapped, their memories of what they've just seen get erased, and the agent replaces it with a different memory with a lot fewer
Oh,
angles.
God.
It's cool.
That's-
So,
Captain Planet?
Gadget, Big Wolf, right? Well, we've learned a lot about memory since this movie first came out 20 years ago, and I'm telling you right now, the Neuralyzer has gone from a creation of science fiction to something we could totally make today. You ever had deja vu? Oh,
Yes,
you know the real
all
Men
the
in
time.
Black haven't already neuralized you, and the deja vu was just you experiencing something that was wiped from your memory the first time. Long story short, in order to make a neuralyzer, we
deja
need to
vu a
establish
lot.
three
Right.
things. One, that memories can be erased. Two, that false memories can be forced into people's heads.
Wow.
And three, that it can all be done with a flash of light. So get
Wow.
ready, because here
How?
comes that one that you remember your childhood the same way ever again. See,
No.
I can't rap either, Will Smith. You're in good company. Sorry.
He's trying to Jonah
Point
him.
number one, can memories be erased? I mean, we've all heard stories of being unable to form any new memories to determine who killed your wife, so you tattoo clues on yourself instead of writing them down on paper like a normal person. But is it plausible that we could wipe out specific memories of things that we've just seen? Turns out the answer is a solid
I like the
yes.
movie.
It comes
I
from
like
a place
it.
you might be surprised to hear on a channel that prides itself on science. I'm talking about hypnosis.
Oh,
But not the kind
you're
with
so
some
hard to
spinning
catch.
spiral thing that makes you
You
think
are
you're
An
a
Abra.
makes you want to
Yes.
subscribe to the Film Theorist channel, subscribe to the Film Theorist channel, subscribe to the Film Theorist channel. I'm talking about hypnotic induction, which is a real therapeutic technique to get patients into a deep state of relaxation, which
That is real.
increases theta waves in their brain. You know how you get all your great ideas in the shower? Well, it's because relaxing in a shower results in a high concentration of theta waves, which makes connecting otherwise disparate ideas in your brain a whole lot easier. This also applies to
nasty.
memory, but theta waves
I don't like
can also
pineapples on
be used
pizza.
against you.
Ugh.
And hypnosis here is the key, blocking memories that you'd otherwise be able to recall. For instance, and this is nuts, last year Samsung released an online hypnotherapy tool called
Unspoil Me?
Unspoil Me that walks you through a self-hypnosis session that's supposed to help you forget movies and TV shows so you can watch them again as if you're watching them for the
What?
first time. Full disclosure, I had Chris from our team do it, and yeah, he still remembers the Red Wedding, but he's recently been overcome with this strange urge to buy a phone that spontaneously combusts. No, but all jokes aside, after going through this
I remember when
treatment,
that was
he no no longer
happening.
remember how
Right.
the series ended, whether he had even seen the series end in the first place, even the main character's name. And for as ridiculous as that might seem, the science behind it is actually 100% solid. In 2007,
What?
scientists published a study in which they showed participants a movie, then hypnotized them to try and make them forget it. When they tested the group that had been hypnotized, the subjects couldn't recall details of the movie that they had just watched. Maybe they should have just had hypnotists outside of the Emoji Movie. That's 90 minutes of
Emoji wasn't that
Emoji
bad.
Movie
It was
was not
just
bad. I enjoyed
couldn't
it.
remember where they had watched the movie and other details surrounding the experiment, but they actually couldn't remember what happened in the movie itself. And it's not like they were just forgetful either. They actually demonstrated different kinds of brain activity from a control group that wasn't hypnotized. This kind of isolating amnesia is exactly what we see demonstrated in Men in Black. When normal people come into contact
Ooh,
with
I remember
aliens,
that.
Alright,
Men in
yeah.
Black don't just wipe the person's memory completely. Instead, they isolate one element of the memory.
That
Just
looks
like
so
the film
disgusting
study
when I
did,
was
and they
little. I
replace
was like,
that
I don't wanna
memory
see
with
it.
something else. Which of course brings us to our second question: can you really implant false memories into someone's brain? And yet again,
I
the
think
answer
so,
is
yeah.
yes. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. A Canadian psychologist named Julia Shaws demonstrated that when people are asked about their involvement in events that never occurred, their memories will actually start to form versions of that fictional scenario.
What?
People will eventually believe that it happened. Here's
What?
Dr. Shaw telling one of her subjects about a completely fictitious event.
So the other event which your parents reported happening was when you were 14 years old, you initiated a physical fight and the police called your parents.
The girl responds pretty much exactly as you would expect from someone
Like,
who had
what
just
are you
had a
talking
story
about?
made up about him.
Honestly,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Man, I gotta say, Canadians are so polite, even when they're calling people liars. Anyway,
I don't know
fast
what you're talking
forward
about.
just a few minutes in this interview, and all of a sudden, the same woman suddenly has memories of the event.
The cops showed up and we were kind of having maybe a verbal kind of fight, and then it kind of got to a push. And then at that point, there was kind of cops coming.
All the
Or maybe is it
psychologists had to do
people
was
just
provide a
lying
framework for
to
the
make it
event,
seem
get the
more
subjects
interesting?
to try and remember, and suddenly their brains fill in what's missing from the memories, which is, of course, everything. The memories weren't there to begin with. Some of it is also situational here. The subjects are likely influenced by a desire to comply with an authority figure asking them questions. But that's exactly what
I know
we
that
have
those
to get
pictures are like
Men in Black
references
in
to
real
things
life.
we have
Now,
not
of course, I
watched.
can
Yeah.
Probably like Game of
Sure,
Thrones.
these false memories might be implanted, but it's not like they're gonna stay in anyone's memory or be trusted for any length of time. And yeah, that would totally make a lot of sense if it had any bearing on facts. False memories run rampant, even in situations where our memories matter the most, like, say, when you're testifying
no.
at a murder trial. You ever heard of someone wrongly convicted of a crime being exonerated by DNA evidence? Well, statistically, that person was probably convicted in the first place because of a false memory. According to the American Bar Association, an astounding 3/4 of the cases overturned by DNA evidence
Wow.
relied on eyewitness testimony for the wrongful conviction. Oh yeah,
They probably weren't even there.
Killer. Well, DNA evidence proves he was in Hawaii. Sorry you missed out on years of your life, buddy. Now imagine for a moment that you've just come to the realization that aliens not only exist, but walk among us on Earth. Because
I do
you saw
believe in
something
aliens.
absolutely
I
bananas
do.
go down, and then some very calm, in-charge looking person in a great suit shows up and flashes something in your face and tell you that you didn't see what you really thought you saw. Even if the neuralyzer was just a flash of a Polaroid camera, you're pretty likely to walk away believing what they just told you. Alright, Mad Pat, cut the BS. You're probably saying right now, enraged by my suggestion
Or
that your
was
memory is
that done
about as
before?
reliable as a cable
I don't know.
company showing up on time. These examples you're giving me are from carefully controlled experiments that took place over long periods of time. Sure, you might be able to force people to forget things or remember things that never happened, but you can't do it instantaneously with a flash of light. Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Scientists have already done it. Oh yeah, loyal theorists. The
What I
future
said.
is here. To quote Mr. Meeseeks, it's getting weird.
I love
Optogenetics is
him.
a new branch of neuroscience that enables researchers to control individual neurons through electronic impulses directly into people's brains. It's pretty complicated, as one might expect electronic mind control would be, but here's the gist of it. Scientists can modify the genomes of mice to be particularly sensitive to certain kinds of light, and they can also map the areas of the brain that are stimulated when the mice is experiencing something that would form a good memory, like when it's eating food or when it's in its home. In this clip right here, a mouse is put into a bright box with no hiding place, and it responds with fear response. It's cowering in the corner. It's scared of this new environment, right? But once they flash the light into the mouse's brain, they basically turned on a switch that activates the good memory, and suddenly the mouse starts moving around the box like it's home. Turn the light off again, and the mouse stops immediately, dead in its tracks. Turn it back on, and it's grooming itself like it's back home. Turn it off again, and, well, you get the idea. Now, granted, mouse brains aren't human brains, but as we explored with Dan Harmon in the Pickle Rick episode, they're structured similarly enough that in a few years, this could easily get transferred into the human brain. It also proves Kay's assertion at the
Actually,
beginning
that's kind of
that
scary.
the light from the neuralyzer is enough to interrupt signals in the brain. And this kind of on-off switch effect for memories actually coincides with what we see in later movies in this series. In Men in Black 2, we find out that memories that have been neuralized can be brought back. So it's not so much that they're getting deleted as they are getting switched
pushed
off.
away.
So it makes sense that the Men in Black have developed a kind of optogenetic technology that can activate certain parts of the brain and shut off others instantly with a single
I gotta watch Men in Black again.
flash of
We do
light.
gotta watch
So
it.
there you have it.
Did you watch
the
two?
neuralyzer is physically possible.
you
But
need
in order
to.
for it to be practical with near future technology, it would mean that every single human being would have to be genetically engineered to be sensitive to certain kinds of light, and then also have transponders implanted into their brains to receive the signals that
Michael B.
receive
Jordan, oh, no.
neuralizers. But in the Men in Black universe, that's definitely what's happened. The entirety of New York City is neuralized by the Statue of Liberty's torch at the end of Men in Black 2. So we know both that everyone is susceptible to this technology and that the Men in Black have engineered the world to keep their secrets under wraps. With all the alien technology they have access to, it doesn't seem like too big of a stretch to say that they're putting chips in all of our heads. And as long as they keep neuralizing us along the way, we won't know the difference. In fact, who's to say that we don't have chips in our brains right now and that we've all forgotten the memory because we've already been neuralized. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory.
Every time I watch-
and cut.
Every time I watch these film theories, I always feel so confused, and I don't know, because they're all theories, so it's not really like they're all true. Like, it just makes you think, you know? Like, about deja vu, I had that a lot.
I had deja vu,
and I'm really,
yeah.
I literally, like, one day I was trying to see where deja vu came from. It's like I was looking on the internet, and there's no proof as to what it comes from. Like, everybody has a theory. There's no solid answer as to why we remember things that we think we already experienced. Like,
Yeah, I don't know
like
that.
what's gonna happen next and everything, like specifically.
Yeah, I have deja
And it made
vu.
me-
Like,
You did?
yeah, I'd be like, did this just happen? I remember I told my mom, I'm like, didn't this just happen? She's like, what are you talking about? I was sitting there all confused. Oh man.
And it makes me think, like, am I just reliving the same life over and over again in a cycle? And like, I'm remembering this from the past life, and I'm just doing the same thing over?
Scary.
I don't know.
Scary to think about.
That's
Also
scary
scary
to
to think
think
about
about.
what the government could have.
They probably already have
That's just
it.
like when Apple comes out with the Face ID. You know how many years they probably could have been
Had
put
it.
out that?
They just giving us
Whatever you
select
get.
things.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
what I think.
I think it's like
Yeah.
whatever you get is not state of the art.
Yeah.
Whatever you get is 10 years behind or 20 years behind whatever
Right.
they have now.
I believe that what
Just in
we
Silicon
have
Valley,
now,
that-
yeah, like the little fingerprint ID and all that stuff, and the face scan. I believe that we've had that for a while. I believe that the government gives you like maybe 5% of what they have, and they keep everything else. Because I see things like people like on the internet making homemade lasers and homemade like mirrors that could like give these projections and stuff just from stuff they got in the garage. Okay, you mean to tell me our whole government base don't have that? They do. They do. Somebody's making it. So I feel that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like the government has a whole bunch of stuff
You know, us and
that
our
we don't know
conspiracy
about
theories,
right now.
right.
I could go on forever.
Yeah. Anyway,
So-
guys, please comment below, subscribe.
Don't forget to like and share.
More. Deuces.